All right, we're good now. It started. But like it's live, so people on YouTube could watch us. And they are watching us.
Nice. You should have sent me the link. I would have sent it out to all my people.
All right.
All right, you want me to get this started here?
Yep, you're good.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the podcast. My name is Tom Piccolo, and this is a lot of basketball. But first, I'm joined by 3 of my good friends to talk about Cavs Warriors. Back from last week, we have Greg Poon and Jake Storiali. And joining us for the first time is the elder Poon brother, Kenny. Guys, don't talk over each other,
though.
but how are each of you doing?
Good.
We be steady potting.
I'm all right.
Poddington the Bear.
Strong first impression. So we're taping this on a Monday night. Game 2 of the finals was last night. The Warriors dominated the Cavs for the second time at home to take a 2-0 series lead, heading back to Cleveland. Guys, both games 1 and 2 played out in sort of similar ways, with the first halves being very competitive before the Warriors ran away with it in the third quarter of both games. So I'm going to start with Jake. I'm curious, what are your impressions of games 1 and 2 so far?
Well, I think we we saw what we thought we were going to see. I mean, not to toot your horn, Tom, and not in the biblical sense, but I mean, I think you said it perfectly when you said in game 2 that LeBron was the best player on the planet. Kevin Love played a great first half. Golden State was careless with the ball, and they were still up by 3. That was in game 2. So it's going to take a Herculean effort by LeBron. I still think they're going to get one game. But yeah, I mean, it's been a domination. I don't know how much there is to analyze. I mean, Tristan Thompson, where are you? And then, who's been the best bench player for the Cavs? Richard Jefferson? What year is it? So I don't know. Just so much firepower on Golden State.
Yeah, Jake, there better be a lot to analyze because we're going to be talking about this for an hour. So, yeah. No, so, I mean, just going off of game 2 really quickly, the Cavs played Golden State to a draw in fast break points. They outscored them in the paint 60-40, and they outscored them in points off turnovers 23-14, and they still lost by like 19 points. It doesn't bode well for the rest of the series. Kenny, I'd like to hear sort of your impressions of games 1 and 2.
Yeah, Tom. So, I mean, just kind of echoing what Jake was saying. I'm not sure if it was you or Greg who mentioned in the last podcast.
And Kenny, was that a reference to our echoes in the first podcast? That's a good callback. Nice callback.
Thanks, Tom. But someone said, this is the Golden State Warriors are a team that you can play your best basketball and then look at the scoreboard and you're still losing. So not that either team was playing their best basketball, but certainly Golden State was not playing their best basketball in game 1, and Cleveland wasn't playing their best basketball either. But they looked up at the scoreboard and they were losing. Just like in game 2, both teams were playing exceptionally well. Golden State was a little bit sloppy with the ball, and still you look up at the scoreboard and Golden State's up at 3 at halftime. So, I mean, I think the biggest thing for the Cavs is they need to get exceptional efforts out of Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and LeBron James all in the same game. Kevin Love disappeared a little bit in game 1, didn't have his best game, and Kyrie Irving, he got his points last game, but in the end it wasn't particularly efficient, and there were large stretches of the game where Klay Thompson just kind of shut him down and made his life very difficult. So in order for the Cavs to get back in it, I really think that they're going to have to get exceptional efforts from all 3 of those guys.
And Greg, you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, going off what Jake said, Tristan Thompson, where are you? J.R. Smith, where are you? Just Deron Williams thought he was good at basketball. Apparently not. Richard Jefferson has been the best bench player, if just looking at it. And Iman Shumpert was pretty great defensively on Durant for 10 minutes yesterday. And then offensively, I don't know what he was doing. He said, I'm playing good defense. I'm going to go ahead and take over the offense, which he shouldn't have done. They're going to need someone else on offense. Even if they get the big efforts out of those three guys, you're going to get big efforts by at least two, huge efforts out of at least two guys on the other side, probably more. And so you just need a J.R. Smith or a Tristan Thompson to do something at all. I mean, they haven't done anything. 3 points for J.R. Smith in game one, which was like the very first 3 points of the game. Tristan Thompson, 0 points in game one. They just need something off the other than what the big three are doing.
Tom, you know, I like jumping in as the moderator because that's kind of rude and inappropriate.
The strength of yours.
I we kind of went around and had almost a consensus there. Sounds like there's a dog barking.
We'd be remiss if we didn't address the dog. We have to at least talk about it.
I just got a puppy, so he's a Noodle the Doodle. He's featured on Weedy Steady Pottin'. But Tom,
hey, where can you follow him on Instagram, just real quickly, and then
at Noodle the Doodle Dog. So that's a little into my life, people. But Tom, I think the question is, what does Cleveland? What can they do, and can they win a game? And if they do, how is that going to happen?
Yeah, and I think the biggest, that was sort of exactly where I was headed, Jake, is one of the biggest parts of that is how the Cavaliers are going to slow down Kevin Durant, because he has just gotten whatever he's wanted in games 1 and 2. He's shooting outrageously high from the field. Game 1, he was just getting wide open dunk after wide open dunk. In game 2, he really had his way with whoever was defending him. It seemed like Iman Shumpert might have had the most success, just anecdotally. I don't have any numbers in front of me, but just looking at it, like Shumpert's length and physicality might have bothered him. Because frankly, we talked about it before game 1. LeBron can't afford to use so much of his energy chasing around Kevin Durant off screens and trying to guard him in ISO situations in the post. It's not sustainable for LeBron in order for him to be as good as he can be on offense. So I'm curious what you guys think. Kenny, I'll start with you. Do you think there's any possible way they can slow down Durant?
Tom, I'm going to take the exact opposite approach as you. I'm going to say that they need, great efforts out of Kevin Love and great efforts out of Kyrie Irving on the offensive end to give LeBron a chance to, focus his efforts on defense. Now, in reality, is that possible? They have to run the entire offense through LeBron, but there's really no one on the Cavs side that I can see even potentially throwing Durant off his game. No, he's just too tall and he's too long, and Shumpert had success in short bursts, but in the end, I think he can just turn around and shoot over him. So I think you need LeBron's size and physicality in order to match up with Durant. So I think he's going to have to be able to get some of his energy on the on the defensive end, and in order for him to do that, Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving are really going to have to step up offensively.
Yeah, that's a great point. And turning LeBron into a defensive first player just at this point in his career is going to be it's a tough ask. Just given his mindset, especially in games 1 and 2, he was just in full on attack mode, particularly in the first half. And that's when the Cavs had the most success. It translates. It sort of correlates to that.
And absolutely, and that's how they won 2 years ago. That's how they kept it close 2 years ago, was having LeBron just dominate the game and dominate the ball. And in order for them to succeed, someone's going to have to stop Kevin Durant. And I really don't see anyone on the Cavs roster who has that ability other than LeBron James.
That's totally fair. And Greg, that kind of leads into something I want to ask you is, do you think that sort of slowing down the pace of the game and reverting back to the 2015 style is what the Cavs should do going forward in this series?
I think so. Obviously, you can't run with these guys, but you could try to slow down the game. I don't know how much playing good defense even matters. If you watched last night, first quarter, you're watching, you're like, wow, the Cavs are playing pretty good defense. End of the quarter, the Warriors have 40 points. It just doesn't – if it's possible to look good on defense and give up 40 points, that's what the Cavaliers did last night. I guess if you slow it down, try to lower the possessions per game and not let them shoot. But even then, they're so efficient, even in the half court. You have Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. They can run a play. They don't need to run past you. So, I mean, you're going to slow it down. I think you're just going to lose in a different way. I don't know if it matters.
All right, Jake, I know you like hypotheticals here. You're Coach Lou, okay, heading into game 3. What adjustments are you trying to make to just pull out a win in game 3?
I'm telling the front office to hire David Blatt for the rest of these games. No, I mean it's crazy. My sincere first thought was that the only way you're going to stop these guys or have a chance was to have LeBron go otherworldly on defense. Put LeBron on KD. Just tell him he's the master of his domain down there. We've seen all those crazy LeBron blocks over the years and this, that, and the other, and he's just a physical specimen. And kind of just hope that the other guys can do enough on offense. Like Irving, everyone was talking about, is he the offensive guy to handle things now? J.R. Smith, where are you? I know Korver's getting beat up on defense for the past decade, but the guy used to be an absolute weapon for Atlanta. I mean, and then in theory, I'm telling myself that I'm telling LeBron James to not focus on offense, and it sounds like you've already lost the game. I don't know. Game 3, I think LeBron James is looking at himself in the mirror and he's saying, I've got to do this. I think LeBron tries to do everything in game 3, and maybe it's more successful than they've been doing. Maybe it's not. I think it's kind of a moot point. I still think they're going to get one in Believe Land. I don't know if it's LeBron going off or maybe a Korver, J.R. Smith appearance. If you're Coach Lou, yeah, you take it off LeBron and point to your bench guys and say, hey, J.R. Smith, you're a scorer in this league. Give me something. Kyle Korver, you're one of the best shooters in league history. Give me something. A lot of praying, common theme on this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you absolutely need those role players to step up. And before game 1, we all gave some predictions of how the series would play out. Greg kind of gave a facetious Cavs sweep take.
Wasn't facetious.
It wasn't facetious. That is not aging well.
That's my life.
I know I chose Warriors in 6, thinking that the Cavs would be able to steal 2 games. And though that's not off the table, nothing I've seen from games 1 and 2 have been particularly encouraging for me to want to stick to that pick. I think the most likely outcome is that the Cavs do take 1 and the series ends in 5. But I mean, is that even a moral victory, or is that that's still pretty embarrassing?
Well, Tom, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, if we remember last year, Golden State started on a very, very similar fashion, went up 2-0. Both games were significant margins, and then the Cavs took game 3, and the Warriors took game 4, and then all of a sudden Draymond Green disappears, and bada bing, bada boom, Cavs are champions.
I mean, Kenny, you're definitely right to point that out. The only minor thing I would point to is Kevin Durant. Just like the best player in the series so far has joined this team. And, I don't need to tell you how impactful he's been.
Also last year, Kevin Love got injured. And they had to take him out. And then they beat the Warriors by 30. So I don't know. Even though he looks like he's helping, maybe he's not. I mean, I know 2015 when it was just LeBron, Mozgov was just going off, and then Blatt was like, "I know you're going off, but we're losing, so you're not even going to play anymore." I mean, I think Kevin Love's doing great.
That helped, right?
Yeah, that did help, but I don't know if it's Kevin Love. It's probably not Kevin Love's fault. He seems like one of the only people doing anything, but maybe one of the people that looks like they're helping is hurting. I don't know. Maybe there's nothing you could do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think what it comes down to is, Golden State's best is better than Cleveland's best. So Cleveland has to hope that Golden State doesn't play their best. And I think they're going to have to, at some point, figure out exactly what they're doing on offense. I don't know what exactly they're doing with Kyle Korver. They have him out there playing minutes for presumably to stretch the floor, but then Channing Frye's only getting a couple minutes here and there. If you're gonna get some shooters out there, then get some shooters out there. Otherwise, you go back to the hold the rock game plan and let LeBron do work.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this series, the Cavaliers had the best offense of the playoffs. I mean, they were just unstoppable through the Eastern Conference. And, I mean, just looking at the numbers, they are shooting so poorly from three in particular, which is where it was really been their bread and butter all season. But, I mean, we've really, harped on Kyle Korver, on J.R. Smith, and we haven't really mentioned Channing Frye. But, I mean, obviously these are the guys who need to step up and start hitting threes. But, I mean, the most frightening part is probably has been the Cavs' Achilles heel all season has been their defense. Throughout the regular season, it was mostly blamed on a lack of effort. Throughout the Eastern Conference playoffs, they actually stepped it up, but they just have looked completely hopeless defending. And I just don't know just what else you can do. I think that's sort of just this sense of hopelessness has really crept into this series, and frankly, made it not as enjoyable to watch as perhaps the last two finals were. So that's kind of a long preamble to ask you guys. Do you guys think that, and we can get back to the series specifically in a little bit, but do you guys think that this has been bad for the league, that this hurts the perception of the league? Jake, I'll start with you because you have good takes.
I'm the good take guy on the podcast.
Good take guy.
Man, unfortunately, I think it's still good for the league. Look at all these stars in this game. And end of the day, that's what turns ratings, and that's what it is. You've got, I mean, depending how you rate them, you could have the top three players in the world in this series. You could have, 8 of the top 15. I know Greg just essentially said bench Kevin Love, but I mean, this is a star-laden finals, and what's always been a star-laden league. I mean, you look at the golden years of the NBA, and that's what Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, MJ, and then kind of the bad boys came along from there. Yeah, I mean, that's and no, I guess I don't know if it's a sad part or not, but watching Golden State do what they do when they do, it's incredible to watch. It's I don't think Dr. James Naismith pictured it coming out this way, but it's incredible. I mean, you've got a 7-footer who's got one of the best strokes of all time. Steph Curry is redefining the game, and if you don't believe that, go to any 24-hour fitness around the world and watch where they're shooting from. It's looking like you get 4 points from the volleyball line nowadays, the way they're shooting. But and the other, Draymond is such a special, unique player that he gets his love. Man, I was thinking about it today. Klay Thompson, that dude is a lockdown wing defender. You could argue the second best shooter in the league, and he often gets mentioned fourth amongst these guys. He usually draws the guy to defend.
Channing Frye was guarding him.
I mean, that's tough for Channing Frye. Young Channing Frye, old Channing Frye, that's tough. But the Golden State's special to watch. LeBron's always special to watch. So unfortunately, I think it is good for the league. It's going to be better when Kevin Durant goes to the Washington Wizards next year, but that might be the next episode of We Be Steady Poddin'.
Yeah, we'll have to save that. We'll have to save that take. Can't use them all up here. And just in terms of ratings, I have the numbers in front of me. I have a tweet from one of my professors. He says the NBA Finals are averaging 19.6 million viewers from TV and streaming per ESPN. That's up 5% from last year. So it's not hurting the ratings. I guess what I'm wondering is if it hurts the perception of the league, just this complete lack of competitiveness. The lack of competitiveness is it hurting?
Tom, let me jump in for a second. So I think this is the kind of basketball that will draw in, casual fans because people like to watch excellence. Over a prolonged period of time, I think it just gets exhausting to see how good the Warriors are. The analogy that I would make is to the 1992 Dream Team. They went out there and won every game by 40 points, and it was fun to watch for one Olympics. But if we're going to watch this day in and day out, and you're going to start the season knowing, well, it's the Warriors and the Cavs that are going to be in the finals, I guess we can go through the season and go through the motions, but I think for the hardcore fan, it's just not as entertaining.
Yeah, I'll say that the addition to Kevin Durant may help the ratings this year, but if, like Kenny's saying, if this continues and we get the Cavs Warriors for 5 years in a row, it may not be the best. I mean, it's been three years in a row right now, but I'd say this year is different than the first two with Kevin Durant. So if this was the same Warriors team as last year, I mean, I guess it'd still be interesting since this is the rubber match. But if this continues, I don't know.
Yeah, and guys, I don't mean to just hit all the tropes of NBA Twitter right now, but I don't know that all of our listeners are like hardcore NBA fans, so I'm just gonna dive right into it. If the Warriors sweep the Cavs here, does that hurt LeBron's legacy at all? Like, does the label of the sweep really matter? Not even necessarily in this debate of who's the greatest, is it LeBron versus MJ? Just in general, does it? Do you think people are going to hold this finals against LeBron?
Well, I'll say I think it's catch-22. So if they get swept right now, and then the Warriors keep winning next year and the year after then, year after that, then he got swept by one of the best teams ever. But if he beats them, if he gets swept by them right now and beats them next year, then it's like, why did you get swept last year? Kind of like that. And so this could be brought back against him at some point, even if he wins next year. Or if they lose to someone who isn't LeBron, then that is very bad for him, I would say.
The other big thing that sorry, Kenny, I need the stage. The stat that we haven't brought up that I'm surprised hasn't been getting more played, because they were talking more about it with Cleveland coming in, but they could go undefeated in the playoffs. Where the team coming off 73 win season and all that, and then they ended up flunking the dunk at the end of the year. But if they go undefeated in the playoffs, that's going to really rally this is the best team ever talk. And I think LeBron wanted to get the title for Cleveland. He's on a bye for a little bit. If he wants to go after MJ's ghost a little more, that'll come in the coming years. But I think the conversation is more going to be, is this the best team that's ever played?
And if I can jump into the LeBron discussion here, getting swept certainly doesn't help, right? I think the bigger thing for him is right now he's just getting completely shown up by Kevin Durant. If Kevin Durant continues to just dominate him in this fashion, then that certainly has to hurt his legacy to have him go toe-to-toe with another player. I mean, they're both putting up sensational numbers, but there was a stretch yesterday where Kevin Durant just went toe-to-toe with LeBron for 3 straight minutes, and he got the better of him by a large margin. And I think that, more than getting swept, would be a problem for his legacy.
Craig?
Yeah, I mean, I think the sweep would be, like Jake said, this might be the best team ever.
The best single season team ever. Like,
yeah.
Obviously they'd have to put together more of a run to challenge the Bulls dynasty or some of the several other dynasties from before. But yeah, I think there's a real case there to be made for the best single season team in NBA history. Like, they're going to go through and probably have the best net rating in playoffs history, and going undefeated, like that number kind of says it all if that's the case. But even if they do win in 5 games, I don't know that precludes them from being the best single season team in history. Maybe some would argue that one game matters a ton, but I don't really fall into that camp.
Yeah, I also think that they don't have the regular season's win record, and I think that's largely because they didn't want it. They got it last year. They saw that it didn't matter at all in the end, so they just decided they didn't want it this year, to be honest.
Yeah, and there were, discussions at the end of last year when they were talking about maybe Kerr should rest their players, and they said, no, let's go for it. And they went for it and then didn't win the championship. So I think Greg's right there.
Fire Steve Kerr from Ken Poon.
Exactly. Mike Brown was killing it.
Yeah, that just something that jumped out to me in that conversation that actually Ken said. We used to think Kevin Durant was going to take the torch from LeBron. Basically, once he took off, he's this next level scorer who, when he turns it on defense, it's pretty impressive. I know one of Tom's favorite plays in basketball history is that Kevin Durant double jump block. That was incredible. But recently the conversation's gotten away from Kevin Durant taking the reins over because LeBron's still doing it like he does, and now people have been talking Giannis and different guys to be labeled as the best player in the league, which is a big thing. I mean, you go through league history, there's only so many guys that you can clearly say they were the best player at their time period, and Kevin Durant currently can't say that. If he wins this and then that kind of gives him the confidence, I think he'd have to leave Golden State. If he stays there, I mean, people are just going to always hold that against him. But he could possibly get back in that discussion. Yeah, that's preach. But I think that would be an interesting developing storyline in the coming NBA to see if Kevin Durant has another level.
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. And there's been some talk, and I know, Kenny, you mentioned this beforehand, that Kevin Durant might even be the best player in the NBA today, full stop. Better than LeBron.
Paul Pierce says. And I mean, I think yesterday he went for it. During that 3-minute stretch in the fourth quarter, he went at the crown. And not that, I don't know if you guys have seen The Wire, but you go with the king, you best not miss. And he did not. So.
And so I wonder if all this talk about Durant has sort of given short shrift to Steph Curry at all. I mean, because we haven't talked about him that much, and he has been. I mean, he's average. So in games 1 and 2, he's averaging 30 points per game on 46.2% shooting. He's hitting 45.5% of his 11 3-point attempts per game. He's getting to the line 7 times a game. He hasn't missed yet. He's 7 for 7, averaging 7 for 7 from the line. 8 rebounds, 10.5 assists per game. And that's a pretty outrageous line, and he's leading his team in plus minus. So I don't know. Like, Kevin Durant has been just outstanding, particularly on defenses where I think he's getting a lot of respect from people. But Steph Curry on offense has maybe even been better. Anyone want to argue with me on that?
No, I think we all agree that Steph Curry's been the best player in this series so far.
Oh, that was some boring radio.
No.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, so go on, Greg.
No, you go for it. You go ahead. You talk. I'm going to sit in silence, and you're going to talk.
Got that brothers connection.
So the Steph Curry thing's interesting.
Oh, not Jenkins. All right.
So with Steph Curry, that's kind of what I was touching upon with the Kevin Durant stuff, because this dude won the unanimous MVP, 2 MVPs, and and he doesn't get referenced as the best player in the league. Basically, LeBron obviously took a lot of wind out of his sails when he won it the other year. The Russell Westbrook camp is, I don't have time for that in this podcast, but it's an amazing question. The numbers Curry puts up, but people then hide behind, wow, Draymond's incredible on defense. Clay's one of the best 2-way players in the league. Kevin Durant, I was just saying, is he going to take the throne? I don't even know. I don't know where I land on Steph Curry. Maybe my favorite player to watch all time. When he's right, it looks like a video game, but not. I don't know. He's not flying through the sky. He's sleight of frame. I don't know. Does that lead something for you guys to say? Because I'm lost in my words.
I mean,
You?
So I was going to go in a different direction. I will say that the biggest problem that people have with Steph Curry is that he just doesn't look like he should be one of the best basketball players in the world. He doesn't have that look. And
He doesn't dunk it.
He doesn't dunk it, and he celebrates a lot. And when he celebrates, he looks like kind of a goof. So I think that I don't know how much that takes away from what people think of him. I will say I don't think that he's been the best player in this series. I mean, I'm sticking with Kevin Durant. I think that's pretty clear. If we look at game one, he went 38 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, shot 50% from 3. Last game, he went 33 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 5 blocks. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Steph Curry. He put up a triple-double last game, but what Kevin Durant is doing is incredible.
I'll say that Curry is. I mean, it's definitely debatable. I know at one point last night when Durant was just going off, you see the Warriors dribbling the ball up the court, and you're thinking, just give the ball to Durant, give the ball to Durant. Steph Curry just pulls up for 3 and nails it. It's just like so ridiculous. Just pulls up from deep over Kevin Love. What can you do? This just reminding people that he's on the team. He shouldn't have to do that. He's good. He's a good player. I mean, like Kenny said, Durant's line in game 1 was good, but Curry still 28, 10, and 6. 6 for 11 from 3. That's 3's worth more than the 2 at the end of the day. So maybe Steph Curry is the best.
38 is more than 28.
But Steph Curry looks like a doof, so now Kenny's the take guy on the podcast. So
I'm saying I don't know if it takes away from him, but he's
definitely an alpha
out there celebrating there.
All right.
Tom, weren't you making the argument that Tristan Thompson's the best player in the series?
Hey, you're just trying to make me bring up a Kardashian. I'm not going to do it, Jake. I'm not falling for that trap.
We've been given a lot of love. I think we kind of got to go to the other end of the spectrum. Tristan Thompson, what happened? What's going on with these Cavs bench, Tom?
Broke up with a Kardashian. That's what Tom said.
I think Tristan Thompson has gotten 2 over the back fouls called on him while going for offensive rebounds in the first quarter of each game, or one in each game, and that might have affected him. But I mean, you usually just see this guy just bulling through people for the rebound, and I think he tries that once, gets called for a foul. Maybe he doesn't want to foul out, but that doesn't seem to matter since he only played like 22 minutes in game 2. I don't know.
He was supposed to be the X factor, with the rebounding and particularly the offensive rebounding. And in the first 2 games, he has a total of 3 offensive rebounds and 8 rebounds total. I mean, Steph Curry had 10 rebounds last night.
Yeah, like I was saying, the Cavs don't have an X factor. There's no one on this team doing anything other than the big 3. Shumpert, you see him play good defense, but having one player play good defense isn't enough against the Warriors, because then he'll just, like, he was guarding Durant, so Durant will just pass to Curry and he'll be being guarded by Kyrie Irving. So you're gonna need to be able to contribute on both ends. You can't have a guy just play defense and then go to the other end and just do absolutely nothing like Iman Shumpert did yesterday.
And kind of just going along with that, they got to pick up the defense all around. And I know LeBron's been putting up crazy numbers, but there were stretches yesterday when he just got lost on defense. And I know I talked to you guys about this before, but there's one in particular play where he followed Iguodala and just completely left Kevin Durant alone. And that's not something you can do for the second best player in the world.
Yeah, I mean, going back to Tristan just real quickly, I've heard this criticism a few times on different podcasts today, and I think it rings true. Just that if you're the Cavaliers and you want to get better on defense, you have to play Tristan Thompson. He's your best, maybe second best defensive player, depending on how engaged LeBron is. And I know that they're getting killed with him out there, but I mean they're getting killed with him on the bench too. So like, if
They're
you're
getting
Coach
killed with
Lou, I
everyone.
think yeah, Tristan Thompson needs to play more minutes. I know he's not putting up eye-popping stats, but he's your best defender. He can switch on the perimeter. He's not a great rim protector, but at least he pulls down boards and hustles. Like, you can't go giving those minutes to Channing Frye and Biggs. And, LeBron was playing substantial minutes at the center last night. They've been playing a lot of lineups with just one big with Kevin Love at the center. And, I'm fine with those guys getting minutes, but Tristan Thompson needs to be on the floor. He's just too important to this team to be sitting on the bench just because Ty Lue hasn't liked what he's seen so far. Like, he has to play himself out of this funk for them to even have a chance.
I think the question that comes up with Tristan Thompson is that can you play Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love at the same time right now? I mean, one of them would have to guard Kevin Durant or who else is in the death lineup? Somebody.
Draymond.
Yeah. So basically, maybe not necessarily against the death lineup, Greg, but I think, certainly. So like going against the starters, obviously Tristan Thompson has been playing against the starters, but in any lineup where you've got Zaza out there, where you've got JaVale McGee out there, or even guys like Livingston, you can hide Thompson on, like Sean Livingston, and frankly, like there probably should be more time with Kevin Love sitting and Tristan Thompson out there just for defense, because like if you're not getting stops, you just have no chance of crawling back into these games.
Yeah.
And I guess,
and I think you hit the nail on the head there, Tom. We said it at the top of the broadcast that there's no way that Cleveland goes out there and outscores Golden State. So what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to play some defense. And like you said, you looked at the lineup, and they don't have many defensive players. They have Tristan Thompson, LeBron James, maybe Iman Shumpert, and that's about it. So they're going to have to start making some stops somehow. And I think you're right in that the way they're going to have to do that is Thompson's going to have to get some minutes.
I think you actually just convinced me that this is Kevin Love's fault, that he is the problem, and that
I didn't mean to say that.
Well, you need to put Tristan Thompson in for defense. I know you see Kevin Love going off on offense, but do you need Kevin Love to go off on offense when you have LeBron James and Kyrie Irving? You could there's only one ball. We just let those guys do it. I know last year there was a game where they both scored 41 points or something. Let's just do that. I mean, then we'll have the rest of the other three guys play defense. I know when LeBron scored the 28 straight against the Pistons back in 2007, one of his teammates said, LeBron told him, hey, you guys just get stops on defense. I'll take care of the offense. So maybe something like that. I know it's not good basketball, but maybe their best shot.
Yeah, and I will say in defense of Kevin Love, I mean, he's putting up 21 points and how many rebounds? I have it right here. 21 points, 14 rebounds. He's actually gotten Draymond Green into foul trouble. I think in both games, Draymond Green hasn't been a huge factor. At least hasn't felt like. And I know in game 2 he was in foul trouble the entire game because Kevin Love was just being so aggressive with him and establishing position and forcing Draymond to commit those fouls. So like even some of the stuff that Kevin Love does doesn't show up necessarily on the stat sheet. So I hate for the all the onus to be put on his benching, but bottom line is Tristan Thompson can actually defend Draymond Green credibly. He can switch onto the perimeter if he has to in a pinch. Like he's just too good of a defender to just be wasting away on the bench while the Cavs' other rotation players have just been trash. So that's pretty much all I've got to say. We've been going on for a while here. I'm wondering, does anyone else have anything else they want to say about?
I'll say that. You may not want to play Tristan Thompson and Kevin Love against the death lineup, but it's not up to them who the Warriors put in the game. I know at what point yesterday, Tyronn Lue was talking about it, that they put in Channing Frye and the Warriors just countered with Kevin Durant at center. Some reporter was asking Tyronn Lue about it, and he said, yeah, I saw that. I just took Channing Frye right out of the game. What can you do? And you have to guard the people on the floor. You could try to put in your best defensive lineup. I don't know. You can't be good at offense and defense against the Warriors, basically.
Not with the Cavs roster, it seems like. All right, guys, I think we're wrapping up here. Jake, Kenny, you have any other closing thoughts here?
Yeah. If we're a closing statement, I mean, if you're the Cavaliers, you either hope LeBron goes mental, and that's how you get a game. Literally everybody would have to pick it up. You'd have to get a 5-7 from J.R. Smith. You'd have to get I don't know, either Kyle Korver needs to make a lot of baskets or not play. I mean, I just heard us saying, is Kevin Love the problem? And he's getting 21 and 14 right now. I mean, Tristan Thompson is putting up pedestrian numbers. I don't know. I'm still saying just because he's LeBron, they're gonna get one. But if not, I mean, perfect playoffs. That's what's going to be really interesting in this game, these final games, I believe, is whose pride kicks in harder. Does LeBron say, I'm not letting these bleeps go down as the best team ever and go undefeated? Or is Golden State, do they turn it on even more and say, we want this. We're pissed about last year. This is going to be another one. Not only do we have the best regular season in NBA history, we're going to have the best postseason in NBA history.
And Jake, you can say hell on this podcast.
Nice callback, Tom.
Thank you.
I wasn't going to say hell.
Oh. Yeah, that wouldn't have made sense. Kenny, you have any other thoughts?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I'll just close out kind of saying what I said a little earlier, in that the Warriors' best is better than Cleveland's best. So in order for Cleveland to steal a few games, they're going to need Golden State not to play their best, and they're going to need to play their best. So they're going to need to get everything they can out of the big three and then all their supporting staff. And even then, if the Warriors play their best, it still might not be enough. So I just I don't know how long this could possibly go on. I wasn't on the last podcast, but I said my first prediction was Cleveland would steal game one and Warriors would win in 6. If Cleveland did not win game one, I called a Golden State sweep, and I'll stick to that. I think there's just no way that Cleveland can play at a level to beat Golden State at its best.
The conditional prediction, I like that a lot. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to use that from now on.
All right. There you go.
All right, folks. Well, this has been the A Lot of Basketball podcast. Thanks for listening. Is there anything you guys want to plug? Anyone write any articles recently?
Oh, yeah. Follow my dog at Noodle the Doodle Dog on Instagram.
Yeah, Noodle the Doodle Dog's about to drive my girlfriend crazy, so I have to go.
All right.
All right, guys. You can check this. You can check out our writing at alotofbasketball.weebly.com. Is that or
Actually,
Greg,
just
It's a lot. Yeah.
I paid a lot of money, so now it's just alotofbasketball.com, and I get about 10 calls a day from web developers and 25 emails. So just check it out.
All right, folks. Make this worth Greg's money, please. alotofbasketball.com. All right, thanks for listening. We'll do this again before the series is over. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Take care.